Well, today we're going to be looking at one of the events that took place on Friday, which of course we know was the day in which Christ was crucified. And so we're going to look at the last few hours of his life and some of the things that happened. In Matthew 27, verse 45, it says, "From noon until 3 in the afternoon, darkness came over all the land. About 3 in the afternoon, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, 'Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani,' which means, 'My God, why have you forsaken me?' When some of those standing there heard this, they said, 'He's calling Elijah.' Immediately one of them ran and got a sponge. He filled it with wine vinegar, put it on a staff, and offered it to Jesus to drink. The rest said, 'Now leave him alone. Let's see if Elijah comes to save him.' And when Jesus had cried out again in a loud voice, he gave up his spirit. At that moment, the curtain in the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. The earth shook, the rocks split apart, and the tombs broke open. The bodies of many holy people who had died were raised to life." And so we see in the last few hours of Christ's life and at his crucifixion that there are 4 recorded things that were amazing that took place. And the first one that we see within this is darkness. And that was significant because it was right in the middle of the day. Scripture says that this took place at about noon all the way till 3 o'clock. It was so dark, it was like the sun's light was just melting away. The second thing that we see was regarding the veil. The veil was torn from top to bottom. And as we saw just a few weeks ago in our series on prayer, as we looked at the tabernacle prayer model, in the tabernacle, it was broken up into 2 rooms, the holy place and the most holy place. And what separated those 2 rooms was the veil. And only the Levitical priests were able to go into the holy place, and only the high priest was able to go into the most holy place, and that only once a year. And when this veil was torn, it was significant because it was symbolic, that barrier between mankind and God and his presence had been removed. That now, any of us can come into his presence to have that closeness and that nearness to him, and we can have access to God at all times, all because of Christ's death on the cross for our sin. The third thing that we see that took place was an earthquake, and it wasn't a small thing. It was a large earthquake that caused rocks to split apart. The fourth thing that we see happen is godly men and women who had died rose from the dead. This seems to have taken place at his crucifixion, and at his resurrection, those people that rose from the dead were making their way into the city. My point in bringing all of this to our attention is that Jesus' death was significant, and it didn't go unnoticed to those that were around. This seems to have happened in such a way that even people that didn't believe in who he was acknowledged there was something different, there was something special about this man. We see in an account here with the Roman officer and the other soldiers that were there at the crucifixion that they actually said, "This man truly was the Son of God." Miracles followed Jesus wherever he went in his lifetime and in his ministry, even at his death. Death couldn't stop him from having miracles follow him, and the grave couldn't keep him, as we will see in just a few days at our Easter services. So think about all that happened and what was accomplished on this significant day in history. And we're going to look at that resurrection in just a few days at our Easter services. And we would love to invite you to come and attend any of those happening at our campuses at 8, 9:30, and 11 on Sunday morning. And we will continue to celebrate throughout the rest of this Holy Week with the culmination happening on Sunday. God bless.